Okay, it's almost 7 p.m. in the evening. I think we can start our event. Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for taking the time to join this event. Just give me a quick heads up if you can all hear me. And this could be done by clapping. Thank you. So thank you again for taking time to join us for this event, Listening Beyond Sound, Brainwaves, and a Virtual Connection event envisioned by Anna Lenarczyk from the Melody of the Future. So before we start, I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable moving around in the space. And so I've planned a brief warm-up exercise. And so for starters, let's gather together inside this auditorium area here in the center of the space. And let's perform a collective jump. And we can do that by hitting the spacebar key on your keyboard. Yes, one for a quick tiny jump and twice for a double jump, if you may. And yeah, that's how we start. And so now let's give off and use the C key on our keyboard for clapping. And yes, well, good job. And now let's also, I can see that there are really pros in here, but let's follow with this little tutorial and use the WASD keys on your keyboard to walk. And also you can click and drag the cursor on your screen to change your view, and you can do the same for using the arrow keys left and right. So yeah, let's use a minute and let's use a second for to try this out. And if you need any guidance, please unmute yourself using the microphone button in the top right corner of the screen to ask any questions you may have. And if for any reason, like you get lost in the space, please get yourself, help yourself with your browser refresh button. And I will occasionally bring us together using my admin superpowers. And yeah, that's about it about the tutorial. And one more thing, if you like this space, I would you and to show some love and just hit on that heart icon to like it. Okay, so who am I? My name is Anita Wielgosz, and I'm the immersive experience designer and builder of virtual worlds, just like this one, for digital communities and events. At New Daring World, I thrive at the intersection of tech and spatial storytelling, art and digital well-being. As the creative lead, I oversee the development of multiple environment concepts, choreographing spatial flow, and shaping key architectural elements, as well as gameplay. We are currently in the Summerverse space, which I built with the goal to design a visually captivating world that encourages organic social interaction while remaining accessible across devices and welcoming to non-gamers and mature audiences. The space supports fireside chats, guided art exhibition walks, mindfulness sessions, and live music events, and ensures long-term community engagement over time. So we've hosted quite a few events here so far, including like a super this community of sustainer and Web3 doers. And yeah, so today we will be moving forward like together through this space, guided by Ania Koniak, who initiated this event, and to whom I will now hand you off to with great pleasure, great excitement. So Ania, welcome. Off to you.
Thank you so much, Anita. Hello, everyone. I'm Ania Koniak, and I'm so happy to welcome you to Listening Beyond Sound, Brainwaves, and Virtual Connection. Tonight's gathering is more than just an event. It's a part of my scholarship project, which calls Melody of the Future, which explores how we can use immersive sound, creative technology, and shared presence to reimagine how we come together, reflect, and experience the world. So at first, I want to thank to all the amazing creators and supporters who made this possible. Our immersive experience designer Anita Wielgosz from New Daring World, curators Magda Judejko from MetaMixer and Piotr Koźniewski from VReszcie, and our incredible lineup of guest artists and researchers, Dr. Mark Sheppard, Dr. Alex Smith from Virtual Sound Media, Natalia Słoma from Zentra and Longevity Center, Tony Koniak and Ania Koniak, and MetaMixer artists, Pixadelia, Bartosz Sucharski, Furio Studio, and Right Spot. So what you are entering is not just a virtual space. It's an experiment in presence and a shared moment at the edge of sound, technology, and well-being. Listening Beyond is also a space for exploration. You are encouraged to experience it however feels right for you. You might move through this environment or simply close your eyes and immerse yourself in the sound. Because there is no right way to take part. The experience is yours to shape. This project is supported by European Union funds through the KPO program. And once again, I want to thank you for being here. So let's begin our journey now with a live performance. And please walk with me to the swings area, where you will hear something very special. And Anita, I would like to ask you for help to guide our guests.
Of course. So follow me to this first floor area, and while we are there, you will be like encouraged to sit on a swing, and to do that, if you can follow me here. Press F to interact with the swing and sit on it. Or for some of you, like if you'd like to, I also encourage you to use the cocoons that are outside and floating, and you can use that. You could use the stairs to walk into cocoon for a more like a intimate experience or one-on-one experience. So here. Okay. Just give me a second. I will set up the screen. Yes, I believe we can start the concert now.
Okay, so I would like to introduce our first performer. It's Tony Koniak, and he's a young Polish composer and handpan player whose original music has been performed over 150 times across Europe and even sent to the moon as part of the Copernic space mission. So he also represented Poland at Expo Osaka and his debut album Echoes marked a bold entrance into the international music scene. And his improvisation is called Listening Beyond, and it's designed to bring us into presence through the rhythm and resonance. Enjoy the journey. Thank you, Tony, for the stunning performance. Because Tony and his family, I think they are with us today, right? So I want to also introduce Tony's sister, Ania Koniak, who is a young painter. And her work is also presented here in the gallery. So I encourage you to feel free and explore the info here to learn more about Tony and his sister after the event. And I hope that you liked this musical intro. Thank you, Tony, again. Once again, it was amazing. So now I would love to invite you to walk with me back to the amphitheater, where we will go deeper into the science of sound, attention, and brainwaves. And Anita, again, I will ask you for help.
Yes, please. Let's use the double jump and arrow to jump forward, or the teleporter that's here towards your right, depending on the stand. Okay, and I believe we are all here in the auditorium area. And so, Anna, please present the presentation.
I need a moment to set the screen. Okay, I think we are ready.
Wait for me, because I think we are both setting it at the same time. That's why.
Okay, okay. Maybe I'm gonna set it because I tried it before and it was like more in the middle of this amphitheater. I think, yeah, that should be right. Okay, so our next guest is Dr. Mark Sheppard, a neuroscientist, researcher, and music producer, exploring the intersection of brainwaves, presence, and sound. And he will explore the expressive power of guitar performance using Eddie Van Halen's legendary Eruption solo to demonstrate how timing, phrasing, and emotional intensity can inform the development of the next generation of co-creative AI tools. Please welcome Dr. Mark Sheppard.
Hi, my name is Mark Sheppard. I lecture at the University of Kent and was a co-founder of the Lab, which is a neuroscience endeavour to examine and explore human experience. Today, I'm going to be exploring the concept of feel as a framework for human-machine co-creativity. So for this, I'm using the Van Halen solo piece, Eruption, as a way of exploring this concept. It's a very complex concept, I should say. So, which leads me nicely into this concept of feeling guitar playing. Now, this is a very multimodal phenomenon. So we've got timing, dynamics, articulation, emotion, based around personal experience and also cultural context. And also that could also be where you live, but also from your guitar heroes in terms of who your influences by, or musician influences. And so you're putting all these things together in terms of looking at microdynamics, this emotional resonance and emotional experience into an improvisation. So using your intuition to make real-time adjustments in your playing. So it's going to be really complex to use for modeling feel in a co-creative tool, for example. So what the tool needs to do is actually to adapt to the player's phrasing, microdynamics in tonality, in attack, in volume, etc., and also offer feedback on groove, dynamics, and articulation. And also it should motivate a human player to explore music and be inspired in new and novel ways. So again, what you're trying to do with a tool is basically model all these complex things to preserve the artistry of you playing guitar while getting better and getting more engaged with the music. That should be the feel of what a co-creative tool should be doing in terms of enhancing your playing, not taking over your playing and mimicking your playing style and pretending to be you. That would defeat the object of picking the guitar up in the first place, or doing anything creative in that sense as a human. So the main challenge is, can these generative tools enhance creativity in a sense? The fact that creativity is often poorly defined has been argued for decades, if not centuries, in terms of what is to be human and creativity. And actually creative in terms of being able to express emotion through a complex interplay of your cognitive processes and the environment you're in terms of trying to produce a creative piece, for example. So in a sense, current definitions don't capture the richness of a musical performance. That's the problem at the moment. Which probably will be an eternal problem and basically for the foreseeable future. So here we're looking at a vision of using guitar playing as a model to create tools that both enhance reflection and learning. That's a challenge. So what can we test? That's the bottom line. So let's start simply with the beat. So here, the triangles on top, the black triangles are notes around the central part of the beat, which is the blue rectangle with the line in the middle. So I emphasize in the middle of the beat. So an algorithm could copy your playing style in terms of where you place notes on the beat, whether it's behind the beat, in front of the beat, etc. So you could actually learn this with a reinforcement learning process to understand how you play, in a sense. So you could copy that. That's basically fairly straightforward, but even then, the beat dynamics also can be enhanced by attack, volume, how you hit the note, whether you slide up to the note, whether you've got a vibrato on the note, etc. All these different dynamics can influence that as well. But essentially, we can model the playing in terms of the beat. So technically, you play a phrase, the algorithm could then play a similar phrase back, or maybe change a phrase to basically make you do a different question and answer to a guitar phrase, for example. The other thing we can measure, dynamics. So in this next slide, basically one here, I've got Van Halen's Guitar 1 versus Dweezil Zappa's Guitar 2. Both obviously really experienced guitar players. What's interesting is that if you look on the bottom right-hand panel with tempo for the BPM distribution, you can see Van Halen in blue has got a really wide tempo distribution over time for the piece and eruption. So when he's playing that, you've got fast dynamic attack parts, you've got finger tapping parts, you've got all sorts of different dynamics. It's a really wide range. So he actually plays the piece and it's perfectly placed to create the right amount of tension and release. Dweezil Zappa is also has a wide tempo variation, but not as wide as Van Halen. So you can see the two different styles basically. You can see that immediately going off in these plots. The energy. Look at the next panel along the bottom, the middle panel bottom, is that the RMS energy comparison. You can see that Van Halen on the left has got a really wide dynamic in terms of his playing. Dweezil has also got fairly wide. You've got an outlier on the top here on the right hand side, but essentially it's more focused and sometimes actually less dynamic attack in the piece itself. The other point to make, to place out is here spectral bandwidth distribution, where the blue is Van Halen. So 1750 hertz, you've got a peak here, and also got a peak around 2500 hertz. So here, that's the essence of his brown sound in a sense, where he changed the voltage of his amplifiers to create a certain guitar sound. Whereas Dweezil's going through a modern amp, and he's got a really quite narrow spectral bandwidth here. Essentially, when looking at clustering of notes in terms of the dynamic overlap between Van Halen and Dweezil Zappa, you can see the two different players. They've got some similarity, but essentially they are two different players. So you get a feeling of dynamics between two quite advanced players. Not very advanced players. The next one here, Van Halen versus K-Mac, who's basically a guy I found on the internet playing a version of Eruption. His tempo here is actually really quite spot on. You've got between Van Halen guitar one, in terms of looking at the bottom right hand panel, you can see it's got a really tempo dynamics in terms of the playing style. Tonality is basically mimicked this wider range of Van Halen's brown sound instead of the spectral bandwidth distribution. Dynamics again, the K-Mac's got a very small picking dynamic. And you can see there's both totally different players, but similarities. So this basically says that K-Mac and Dweezil Zappa have similar dynamics in the piece. So hold that in mind in terms of the dynamics, and now we're going to look at more important accuracy. So how accurate are the players playing the notes? So here on the top, Van Halen versus Dweezil Zappa. I should not get a wrong Zappa. You can see here, even though the time is different, is that Dweezil's hitting a lot of the notes as well. So it's very accurate in terms of the accuracy of the playing style. So it's hitting a lot of the similar notes. K-Mac, unfortunately, is randomly hitting notes. So dynamically, it sounds great. That's you say, well, similar dynamics, but accuracy totally out in a sense. So if you were learning a guitar piece, you'd want to be aiming more for Dweezil's accuracy than K-Mac's accuracy, for example. So in terms of the tool could be used for basically enhancing your accuracy when you're trying to play against a piece, which is a standard kind of guitar accuracy tool, probably out on the market at the moment as well. In terms of, you can even look at Guitar Hero. That's one version of that kind of thought process. So this leads us to do a comparison, basically, where I can look at the accuracy of the note exactly. I can look around plus or minus 1% accuracy, plus or minus 2.5%, plus or minus 5%, etc. So what the heat map shows you here, Eddie Van Halen against Eddie Van Halen. Of course, that's good accurate because basically it's the same piece against the same piece. Dweezil Zappa has got accuracy it's in a 1, which is the most accuracy you can get in terms of the piece. Joshua Jones, who was found on YouTube, was playing a very similar style to Eruption and to the attack, but basically had more in comparison with Dweezil Zappa's playing style and dynamic and accuracy than he did with Van Halen, interestingly. Tina S, also an interesting kind of example. She played a really great piece, but was more in terms of playing style, more like Dweezil Zappa in terms of that more modern day player in terms of the picking style. K-Mac, unfortunately, wasn't hitting any notes, so therefore wasn't like anybody at all. So, he basically had zero accuracy against anybody. So he was in his own category in a sense. So as a tool, this can be used for basically increasing accuracy, because you can measure accuracy against the original piece and say how accurate am I playing this piece. But most importantly, what it's showing you in terms of what plays a similar style to me, and that's probably more important because basically the tool can then emphasize which player could inspire you that you may have never heard of. So you might actually go and explore this other player's piece, work, and learn some new music you never actually would have thought of playing beforehand. So that's what this tool, in a sense, would have a dual purpose in terms of playing. Is it if obviously for K-Mac's example, totally unpracticed, you want to kind of get a better stage where you're on Tina S, Joshua Jones or Dweezil's level or intermediate level, but you can measure your progress going through. But ultimately, when you combine that with a dynamic algorithm calculations, is that you can then sort of see, is my dynamics similar, or what are my dynamics? So you can say, well, you can learn about your playing style, you can learn how you hit a note and how optimal it is for you. So that's a great way to explore your own playing, to dynamics, but also accuracy, and also find out what players are similar to you, so you can be inspired by a new player, a new guitar style. The downside to, say, modern tools, we're looking at, say, for the anti-co-created tool would be note stretching. So here I could take Dweezil's guitar and stretch it back into exactly mimic Van Halen's, but you're of course going to get audio artifacts. K-Mac, obviously having no real note accuracy in the piece, you could try and put his notes back in, but ultimately it would sound awful. In a sense, this tool, in terms of note stretching tool, actually is just a mimic tool. So you're not learning anything out of the guitar. You're just basically trying to stretch random notes to match the original piece, which kind of defeats the object in terms of that creative process in learning the guitar and being inspired. So the co-creative tool would be obviously the more optimal way of learning. So you get better and you can develop your own style. So even though you might play Eruption, you play it in your own style. That's the important thing, not being a copy of that original player, in terms of Edward Van Halen for this. So of course, when we, as guitar players, we tend to practice learning solos, learning riffs, and to get them exactly the same, which then can inspire us to kind of create something new, which is based around our own playing style. Interesting enough, in Music in the Brain here, this is another add-on to the co-created tool aspect. You can check out our website on here. Look at www.beckinkster.com/the-lab, and it shows some more of our work. Essentially, what we're looking at, we look at things that I was looking at, the brain's working in a moment. So we can look at flow states in terms of delta activity, in terms of getting the flow state activity, and theta wave in terms of emotional engagement in a looser sense. Also using the EEG as well in a mobile headset, is you can learn to, you can actually, the headset can detect when you're learning a piece, and also you can look at error correction and prediction updates in terms of how well you're playing the piece, etc. So we've explored this in the field quite extensively. Also, we can do that is actually use the EEG headset to explore spontaneous processing pathways. So when you're in a flow state, you might be more disengaged, or not disengaged, more offline in a sense. So you're more basically in a subconscious state, basically. So you said that you can help me get in that subconscious state for improvisation, for example. So we can use this as an entry point for studying dynamic brain states when you're playing guitar. Interesting enough, which is the final point here, is that I scanned my brain listen to Eddie Van Halen on the left, and you can see, I've heard this piece 1,000 times, but basically you can see at the beginning, on the top panel, talks about heart rate. My heart rate shot from 75 to 125 BPM, and then leveled out, etc. My delta wave, in terms of flow state activity, went up. Emotional content, theta wave activity. Alpha, which is focus attention, obviously went up. And beta and gamma, which are more higher brain processing, went up as well. So I was really into the piece, even though I've heard it lots and lots of times. And my air blinking artifacts were down. I've got 3 little blobs for eye blinking there, and I'm focusing here. But basically, my brow is furrowing. I'm really focused on the piece. K-Mac, On the right-hand side, I purposely didn't listen to this until I was until this very moment. I thought, well, I'll scan my brain, listen to it. I didn't hear the piece at all. And you can see in the artifacts, I'm fidgeting more. The muscle rates, there's lots of muscle movement. There's lots of eye blinking. My heart rate is going up and down. It's sinking towards halfway through the piece as well. My flow state, delta wave activity is down. Emotional activity and theta activity is down. In fact, everything is down. My higher brain function has gone off as well compared to the left-hand panel with listening to Van Halen. So this can also be a tool to see when you're in a flow state or how satisfied you are with your playing as well. That's also really, really interesting. It's a non-subjective way of measuring your engagement and your ability to get into that subconscious flow state when you're improvising. So it can be probably used as a useful tool, an enhancement to looking at dynamics and accuracy. So this is just a panel just explaining the differences, but essentially I'm really more engaged with Van Halen, and Koniak sadly doesn't kind of press my buttons in the same way. Obviously the piece is less accomplished, less accurate. Dynamics are interesting, that probably holds your attention, but accuracy is really off in a sense. So the future for co-created tools, essentially AI, or what you want to call it, should be a motivator, not a mimic. So it should basically challenge the player to think differently, stimulate creative growth. So creating that either as a versatile sparring partner where you can actually create more intense pieces or grow and learn and create new novel pieces, etc. Either exploring other players suggested around your playing style, or just purely just sparring off the algorithm. So the tool itself should respect the richness of your music and not just try and flatten it and homogenize it or just cheat, basically. One great paper, which I found recently, is this paper from basically your brain on Chat GPT, showing that even in essay writing using chat basically might give you a better mark in certain cases, but the student does not remember anything about the piece and there's no deep learning. Whereas when the student actually uses their brain, then with obviously using their brain without any libraries, etc., just straight off the bat, for example, was or kind of other materials. Even though they might get a lower mark, they have a greater understanding of the subject. So coupling that with good old libraries and finding papers and books and doing proper research shows that you actually learn better than trying to get an AI to cheat for you. Instead, so the analogy of that was with the note stretching algorithm, which brings your notes back into place to mimic the original piece. So you're not really learning from that. You're just basically using a tool to fix the audio. So really, what you want is actually create a tool which actually expands your playing style and makes you a better player. So next steps for this: more integration of neuroscience using EEG, AI automation in terms of algorithms, and looking how we can redefine our musical practice to redefine how we co-create and get better as guitar players. So basically, I'd just like to say thank you for listening, and I should be having a live Q&A session during the session as well. So many thanks. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Mark, for such an inspiring speech. Mark is today with us, so if anyone has a question, just feel free to ask.
Hi, I'm dialing in from Sao Paulo, so hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear my voice?
Yes. Oh, of course.
Oh, good.
That
It's me, Mark. Has anybody got any questions to ask? It's a novel kind of session for me, but yeah, fire away if you want to ask anything about neuroscience, creative tools, guitar playing, anything. Has anybody got any thoughts?
Hey Mark, it's Alid.
Hi, Alid. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Get a bit chop. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, super. Yeah, how is Sao Paulo going?
It's interesting. There's lots of co-creative talks as well. Talks on AI. Interesting brain. There's some brain orchestra stuff going on as well in terms of work on that, and also general talk about creativity. And it's a really compelling conference. I mean, despite the time difference and the grueling travel to get here, it's been really good. I mean, very friendly and amazing conference. So I'm actually really pleased to be at two conferences in one hit, like a twofer. And I'm really pleased to be doing this virtual conference as well. So yeah, it's an honor to do both things.
Yeah, it's really cool that you're doing both at once. It's like a boss move. So I wanted to just say thank you for the talk. It was really interesting, really inspiring. And I actually do have a couple of questions for you.
Fire away.
Okay, so do you think it's possible to reverse engineer a performance and use the data that you're drawing there to be able to then attach that to a different piece? So say that you could take the data that you get from Eruption and you could put it into something else, I don't know, like Stevie Wonder or whatever it might be.
Oh yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think tentatively I say yes. I mean, algorithmically, I think computing wise, it'd be quite tricky. But I think my approach would be to try and tag as many things as possible in, say, Eruption, for example, and as in dynamics, as in kind of spatial, kind of tone, and BPM of the piece as well, phrase by phrase, perhaps as well. Actually, instead of just in one overall analysis, you break it down into bars, maybe four. If it's 4/4, you may break it down to bar by bar, and then take the dynamic information from that. And if you have, say, a Stevie Wonder piece, you've got Superstition, for example, you can probably take elements of that and basically maybe do an overlay or modifier. So you can basically pool various different things like dynamic, picking, attack, and BPM, and then pool that as a modifier for a different piece. So it might one strike with this might be a case of where you have something which is more basic, where you just use a number of simple parameters to change the dynamics of the second piece. But of course, like the BPM and the feel around playing around the beat, you could actually stretch some notes around Superstition. So the thing with Superstition, it's already very, very focused in terms of the rhythm. So you could actually play around with the rhythm a little bit to do counter rhythms on end of a phrase, for example. So maybe the fourth bar you might change. So I think there's ways and means you could add the dynamics of Eruption into probably Enya, for example. Even you could actually add something which would be quite interesting and quite unusual.
Really,
does that answer you?
It does. As a compositional tool, I think it's a really interesting kind of idea of taking sort of the clothes off one thing and sort of dressing something else with it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I love the idea of Van Halen and Enya together. I think that would be quite.
That'd be a superior combo. That would, isn't it? We have a really interesting combination. It would.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but if not, I have one more.
Excellent. Fire away as well.
Okay, cool.
We have time for one more.
Okay, so could your research be used to guide like a kind of real-time feedback? So create some kind of a performance tool that would almost be able to kind of tell the performer how they're doing as they're actually playing.
That's awesome.
Imagine that you're in a small club and it's kind of like, oh, you need to up your dynamics a bit more because you're playing a bit too flat for this or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think that's also possible as well, because if you think about when you're playing live and you get to your, say, recording, obviously the got a live feed into a microphone, etc. Then from the live feed, either you could say you could take a bar by bar, or you could say I could take the first bar of say 4 bars, and if I'm saying playing a say for example, we take 4 bars of music, then we can sample that, analyze the dynamics and all these different functions in terms of, is my tone okay for the venue? Is my playing in terms of BPM style reasonable? Is my energy level reasonable? So those 3 parameters you can measure and give a real-time feed out at the same time. You can actually just do that in real time. I don't see an issue why you can't do it. Because basically, if you're only working on a small bit of input data, then compute time will be very small. Therefore, you should be able to display that in real time, and then you get an inkling. I think that's a really great tool. I think we have to build that one, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. We can put that on VSM.
Exactly.
Available in all good stores soon.
Imminently.
Thanks,
But any more questions? No, it's a pleasure. And thank you so much for having me. This is a really unusual experience for me to have. I think for someone who's so tech adverse in terms of the metaverse, I think it's been really enjoyable. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you. You're welcome.
That was very inspiring. So anyone who is interested in what Mark does, you can feel free to explore the info zone after the event on the first floor. So you can read about Mark and what he does. And also, of course, after the event, there will be a time for small talks and explore the space. So maybe if Mark, you have time, of course, to stay a bit longer, but if not, you can just reach me as well. There is a contact to me, so I can connect you as well.
So if you can give me a time zone, so I'm back in the past compared to where you are at the moment. So yeah, it's very confusing.
I see. Okay, so thank you once again. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now. Chat later.
Bye. Thanks. So let's go now for our final experience, which is a guided sonic meditation with Natalia Słoma and Dr. Alex Smith. So let's return to the swing area. Or simply you can even stay where you are, because you can, during this experience, you can have your eyes open or you can leave them closed. It's up to you. But if you want to see the visualization, so I invite you to the swing area. Anita?
I would also like to encourage you to use the cocoons, and because it's also yet another experience, you can use the ladder to climb up, and there's a new perspective there. All right, good. Thank you.
Okay, I need 1 moment to set the screen once again. Okay. Okay, so I would like to introduce you Natalia. Natalia is a meditation instructor, well-being expert, and founder of Zentra app. And at Listening Beyond, she will guide a meditative visualization designed to harmonize with ambient music composed by Dr. Alex Smith. And you can also read more information about her after the event. There is the place that you can just read about our guests. And also Alex Smith. Dr. Alex Smith is a futurist composer and sound artist, exploring how raw materials and electronic textures and spatial audio can reshape our sensory perception. And now, at today's event, there will be a premiere of this ambient piece because it was composed especially for today's event. So I hope you will enjoy this experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalia Słoma. For many years, my world was the world of music. I wasn't the one on stage though, but backstage, managing top performing artists and living the rhythm of the music industry. I saw firsthand how a single melody could electrify a stadium or how a certain tone could change the energy of the entire room in an instant. But I also saw the immense pressure, the stress, and the burnout. And that led me on a different journey. From the soundboards of the music world to the soundscapes of our inner world. This journey led me to Asia to study ancient meditation techniques and eventually to become who I am right now, a meditation instructor, founder of the tantric mindfulness app Zentra, and a well-being expert at the Longevity Center Europe. My story is a bridge between these two worlds, and I've seen compelling proof of the powerful, scientifically baked connection between sounds, our well-being, and even our longevity. So let's talk about that connection. We all know instinctively that music has power, but what's actually happening in the body when we listen to it? When we're exposed to calming or harmonious sounds, our entire biology begins to shift. The heart rate slows, muscles relax, the brain releases feel-good neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin. And most importantly, the production of cortisol, the stress hormone, begins to decrease. And this is key, because chronic stress is now recognized as one of the primary drivers of premature aging. So when we shift our mental and emotional state, especially through something as direct as sound, we're also influencing our physical reality in a very real and measurable way. One of the most striking demonstrations of this comes from a Harvard study led by psychologist Ellen Langer, known as the counterclockwise experiments. Back in 1979, she invited a group of men in their late 70s to spend a week at a retreat that had been transformed into a perfect time capsule of 1959. Everything, the furniture, the newspapers, the television shows, and of course, the music, recreated the world they had known 20 years earlier. They weren't just reminiscing, they were asked to live as if it were 1959, to fully inhabit that earlier version of themselves. And one of the most powerful triggers in the environment? Well, the soundscape. The familiar songs from their youth acted like an emotional time machine. And then, something extraordinary happened. After just 1 week, these men showed measurable improvements in strength, posture, flexibility, and even vision. People who viewed their before and after pictures judged them to look noticeably younger. And it wasn't just perception, their bodies actually responded. This reveals something profound. The right sensory signals, especially emotionally charged ones like music, can help the body remember vitality. Now, that was over 40 years ago, but today we can go even farther. We're moving beyond playlists and into the realm of sound as medicine. With various technologies and sound therapy techniques, we can guide the brain into specific beneficial states. For example, some studies on binaural beats suggest that playing slightly different frequencies in each ear may encourage the brain to synchronize to a third frequency, helping it shift into alpha or theta wave states. These are the deep states of calm, insight, and healing. I see this firsthand every day, guiding my students through different types of meditation, depending on the effect we want to create. We use specific sounds and vibrations to support clarity, rest, energy, or emotional release. And the beauty is, we no longer need to wait for a silent retreat or the perfect setting. With the right sound, we can create those inner states anytime, anywhere. It's like composing your own inner symphony, one that supports balance, resilience, and long-term well-being. But of course, theory is one thing. Experience is everything. So now, instead of just talking about it, I'd like to guide you through a short meditation. And I invite you to experience for yourself this shift and the power that music can bring to meditation. So we will begin with a practice I call the sounds of mindfulness. A few quiet minutes with no music, where we simply focus on the breath and the sounds around us, just being present here and now. Then I'll invite you in the sound-based journey, beautifully composed by Aled Smith. This part will be a little more cosmic. I'll guide you through a short visualization designed to take you beyond the body, beyond the mind, into that spacious, expansive field where deep clarity and possibility can arise. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. Find a comfortable seated position. You can sit cross-legged or simply rest your feet flat on the ground. To breathe more easily and stay alert, gently straighten your posture. Now, close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently soften your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. Allow your body to relax. Take a few deep, soothing breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose or mouth. In and out. Slowly allow your body to breathe in its own natural rhythm. Now, begin to bring your full attention to your breathing. On your in-breath, notice the air entering your nostrils, moving down your throat into your lungs, expanding your belly. And on the out-breath, feel your belly gently contract. You might imagine your belly like a balloon, filling and emptying with each breath. In and out. If your mind begins to wander, that's completely natural. Just notice it, kindly and without judgment. No need to follow your thoughts, just let them pass. Take a deep breath and gently bring your attention back to the practice. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, begin to shift your awareness to the sounds around you. With your eyes still closed, notice what can you hear. You might hear noises from the outside or soft, subtle sounds within the space you're in. Maybe it's a clock ticking, a fan humming, or simply the sound of your own breath. And if you hear nothing at all, that's okay too. Whether the sounds are loud or quiet, near or far, just observe them with openness and curiosity. No judgments, just the act of listening. Beautiful. And now, let's move beyond space and time. Imagine a large door standing right in front of you. This door is a portal to the future, a time machine. And by stepping through it, you'll travel 1 year forward in time. So let's get closer to the door now. Notice its shape, its texture, its energy. Reach out, take hold of the doorknob, and slowly, gently open the door. As it swings open, step through. And with that step, imagine yourself moving 1 full year into the future. Yes, you are in the future now. 1 year has passed since you began this journey. And all the challenges you were facing, all the worries, all the doubts, they have been fully resolved. You've moved through them with strength, with clarity, with grace. Maybe you're now thriving in your dream job. Maybe you're in a beautiful, fulfilling relationship. Or maybe you and your loved ones are simply healthy, joyful, and safe. Feel it. Feel it deeply. Feel yourself standing taller. Feel the vitality in your body. Feel the deep calm and confidence in your heart. take a look around. See the colors of this new abundant life. Hear the sounds, maybe laughter, music, words of love and celebration. Perhaps someone you love is telling you how proud they are. Or maybe your future self is standing right in front of you, smiling, saying, "You did it. I'm proud of you." Feel it, smell it, sense it. Let this joy rise in you. Let it expand. You are healthy. You are safe. You are loved. You are truly alive. Feel it deeply. Beautiful. And now it's time to return. Step once more through the door, back to the present moment. Close the door gently behind you, but carry everything you've seen and felt with you. Welcome back. Hold onto this feeling, this strength, this love, this deep sense of care that just arrived from your future self. It's yours now. Let it live in you and never ever forget it. Now, spend a few more mindful moments just allowing the music to guide you.
So this is the end of this part. Oh, thank you so much, Natalia and Alet, for guiding us through such a amazing experience. And I hope also everyone had, thanks to this guided meditation and visualization with sound, had a moment of stillness, reflection, and deep connection through sound and presence. Yeah, before we close, I want to thank once again to everyone who made this event possible. Anita Wielgosz, an immersive designer of this amazing space, and our creators Magda Judejko from MetaMixer and Piotr Koźniewski, VReszcie, and our guests, artists and researchers, Dr. Mark Sheppard, Dr. Alet Smith, Natalia Słoma, artist Tony Koniak, Ania Koniak, and MetaMixer artists Pixeliada, Bartosz Sucharski, Furio Studio, and Right Squad. So I think I mentioned everyone. I hope so. Thank you once again. I'm just amazed. So the official part of this event has now come to a close. But there is still more to experience. So you are warmly invited to explore now MetaMixer and VReszcie gallery, where all the artworks and information about our guests can be found like right here on this floor. And we've also we will set up the music corner here, so we will leave an ambient music next to swings, so everyone who would like to continuing this experience with ambient sound, you can just stay here. So feel free to stay, listen, and enjoy the space a little longer. Now it's time for networking and chatting, and yeah, once again, thank you, Anita, for making this event possible and here in this beautiful space. So maybe now I can give the voice to you.
Yes, once again, thank you so much for participating, and of course to stay connected, to stay in touch and connected for the upcoming events in the space and beyond at New Daring World and Melody of the Future, MetaMixer, and everyone involved. So please remember to stay in touch. Okay, thank you so much.